breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking.
So if you're in the hobby of collecting, you know that space sometimes becomes an issue, especially when it comes to collecting figures. Space on a shelf or in a display is very limited and becomes scarce over time. Additionally, figures are just getting more expensive, so if you want to keep collecting the long run, it's probably best to plan and budget. If a figure wants to join this exclusive club, they better have a reservation. Which is why today we're taking a look at my 2022 figure pre-orders. But before we dive in, it's probably best to establish a goal of some kind for your collection. For me, that goal is to have as much variety as possible. I want to represent as many different genres, subcultures, and just show how diverse the otaku community is. To do that, let's establish some guidelines. The first is only one figure per series. Of course, sometimes that's really hard with so many good characters, so we'll try to limit ourselves to one figure per character. And if that fails, then we'll aim for one expensive figure per character. And if we really can't follow any of that, then they should at least be different outfits. My second guideline is to try to avoid buying expensive figures with which I had little attachment to, or just didn't have the biggest impact on me. Of course, many of these have already been broken, so without further ado, let's get into the pre-order list. So, if you're a part of the otaku community, you already know how massive VTubing has gotten, to the point where they're getting figures now, and it's pretty crazy. Now, I don't personally watch a lot of VTubers, but you know, sometimes I come across clips. Something about seeing a cute anime girl cursing in broken English is just hilarious. So for January, they are releasing a pop-up parade of Korone, and I feel like she's a good representation of the massive boom in VTubing and its popularity in the West. She is being released alongside Okayu, which I absolutely love Okayu's outfit. They both have great chemistry together, so I feel it's wrong not to get both of them. And at the end of the day, they're both pop-up parades, so it's not like they're gonna break the bank. If there's one trope I think will never die off in anime, it's cat girls. And what better way to represent that fandom than a series just about cat girls, Nekopara. Now, I have never seen or played Nekopara, but as a figure collector, these cat girls are just everywhere. So when I saw that Coconut went up for pre-order, I said, why not? Out of all the characters, I like her design the best. And yeah, that's all I have for February, so we're moving on! Don't lose your way. The first major figure of the year is D. This is an original character designed by the artist Neko, and they drew a series of illustrations called A to Z, which is a bunch of girls wearing like tactical wear with outlandish but very stylish weapons. So far, we already have B and S, and they recently announced they're making C, but I still think D is my favorite. Just look at this crazy gun with the insane clip, and the sword can actually combine with the gun to make a giant spear. She is a 1/7 scale made by Myethos. I love their other figures, and she sells for about 12,000 yen, so a very good price. She was supposed to come out last year, but now she's coming out in March, so not too much longer to go. Also this month, we have the pop-up parade of Ryuko from Kill la Kill. Gainax and Studio Trigger have produced some of the most over-the-top anime original series, so I definitely want Ryuko to represent them in my collection. And at the end of the day, I have a soft spot for tough delinquent characters with a good heart. And the last but definitely not least figure of this month is Kirby by Banpresto. This is part of the Padolce Collection Volume 4. It costs roughly like $15, and what more can you say? This thing is freaking adorable. It's Kirby as a sleeping cherry blossom mochi ball, and honestly, probably one of my favorite figures on this list. In April, we have the remit set I mentioned in my last Kirby video. They're relatively cheap, colorful. It's a type of remits I don't really have yet. On top of being a Kirby simp, I couldn't help but pre-order this one. Then we also have another pop-up parade, This one is Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen, and all the characters are super badass or entertaining, but the series is still relatively new that I want to give it a little more time before I decide if I want to buy a nicer figure. And finally we have Stardust Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. This is the one where they play card games on motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles!
It's super stupid, but Stardust Dragon is the one I actually have the most attachment to. It's a long story, so I'll save it for when we actually unbox the figure. If you buy Nendoroids, then you probably have a bunch of faceplates lying around, and I personally hate it. It's like that scene in Game of Thrones with the Hall of Faces, or some horror movie. So we got these dinosaur and Nendoroid cases. They also had a penguin one in Pikachu a long time ago. I really wish they would reprint those. But for now, these ones are super cheap, they're super cute. Nothing too crazy for May. June is where my wallet gets a kick to the groin and a bonk to the head. We have this amazing Pen figure from Evangelion, which also comes with a Misato as a bonus. But in all seriousness, Misato is my favorite girl in Eva, and for one of the most popular and influential anime series, Misato gets very little merch, so who knows when another figure of her will come around. Then we have Ningguang from Genshin Impact. There are a lot of other Genshin characters I'd rather have, but this one is easily the best Genshin figure in my opinion. It also lights up, so I guess you can use it as a nightlight or something. So that's how I'm going to justify the hefty price tag. So after watching Arcane and knowing that they're making this sweet new fighting game, I might be a League of Legends fan again. I don't know yet. When I did play League, I did really want a figure of Ahri. Also, KDA was such a hit, and it also represents the whole K-pop craze. So I pre-ordered this one, but I already have a lot of League stuff, and this figure costs a bunch of Riot points, so I might cancel this one. We'll see. Then we have another pop-up parade of Chika from Kaguya-sama. I think Chika's great. I don't think I'll get Kaguya, but if they make a Hayasaka, I'll definitely get that one. And finally, we have these minifigures of Yu Yu Hakusho. These are all super cool, but where the freak is Botan or Genkai? I don't think we need two figures of Kurama. If you don't include the dinosaur ones, Snow Miku is my only Nendoroid so far. So going down the Miku rabbit hole, every year they have a new Snow Miku design, and for 2022 they actually let fans select which one they wanted, and the design that I voted for actually won, so I feel a little obligated to get it. But it is nice to own a Snow Miku. I'm also really digging these sunglasses, so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. July is also the release of this Asuka figure by Revolve, so the second I finished the final Evangelion movie, I really wanted a figure from Eva, and this was before the Misato figure got announced, so I saw this new Asuka figure. Unfortunately, pre-orders were closed on AmiAmi, so I panicked and bought her off of Tokyo Otaku Mode, and they make you pay up front, and they don't usually cancel orders. So yeah, I broke my rule of having two figures from the same series, which wouldn't be too bad, but they actually announced another Asuka figure that I want way more than this one, and I couldn't help but pre-order that one as well. Going further down the Miku rabbit hole, we have the Tokyo Otaku Mode exclusive Hatsune Miku designed by the artist Lamb. I love the rock aesthetic, it's very over the top. It really reminds me of Ibuki from Danganronpa 2, so until we get a figure of her, I guess this Miku can channel Ibuki's spirit. This next figure is one I've been waiting on forever. This is also designed by the artist Neko. It is the Fallslander Samurai, but unlike the D figure, this one is made by Wing. She looks amazing, but the big caveat is that this figure costs twice as much as the Maietos figure. Of course, I assume Wing has a lot higher quality, and they're putting a lot more detail into this figure, but is it worth two of the Maietos figures? I don't know. I think she looks so good from this one angle, and I don't think I would ever display her any other way, so I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth because I would never see any of the detail from the other side really. I was really excited for this figure, but at this price tag, I might have to cancel this one depending on if there's any more big announcements through the year. So at the moment, October and November are empty, but there are a lot of figure events and announcements supposed to happen in the coming weeks, so we'll definitely see if this fills up. But for now, let's move on to December, where we have this stunning Asuka figure. This is the Radio Eva Part 2 figure, and it's a little collaboration with Fila, and this one really doesn't need much elaboration. She just looks amazing, and there's little references to the Eva movies. I just love it. So yeah, I think it's totally worth it to break my guidelines for her. And the final figure of the year I really splurged is Iowa from Kantai Collection. I've never seen or played Kantai Collection, but I feel like it was a pivotal point in otaku culture where anthropomorphism really took off. I have a lot more to say about this topic, but we'll save it for another time because this video is long enough. I'm sure this list will change over time, especially with delays and announcements. But hey, if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any thoughts on my list or any figures you're excited for. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye-bye.